Hi, so this is another review for another Asus laptop. If you looked at my previous video, sorry, you can remember that I had a silver version of the Asus. Since about 3 months ago, I replaced it with the next generation, the Sandy Bridge, which is the U41SV. This one you can't get in Canada; it's only released in Asia. The reason why I wanted this was because it had a lot more features on it. So first of all, it's got USB 3. It's also got a SATA 3 port, and it's got the GT 500 series GPU. So you can see it's the same texture as I did for the other video. It's the silver. Except minus the silver texture, it's black, which I like because it looks a lot more sleek and more professional. When you open it up, it's the same as the JF version. Just everything. This touchpad part is now black. The keyboard is the same exact as the old one, because when I sold the previous one, I restored it back to its factory settings, so the keyboard was reverted back to its non-backlit. Another modification I did was I changed out the Core i5-2410 that originally came on this laptop and replaced it with a Core i7-2760QM. I'll talk more about that later. So let's turn it on. For this time, I replaced the hard drive from the XT 500 gig hard drive to the 750 gig hard drive. The reason why I did that is because instead of it coming with just a 4 gig SSD on the side, for the 750 gig, they doubled it by putting 8 gigs of SSD drive on it, so it offers a little faster boot up time. Boot up time is almost pretty much, it's actually a little faster than the 500 gig I had. So I modified the startup screen to Portal, so for people who know Portal, you'll know that immediately. So you can see the backlit keyboard I put back in again. So it boots up a lot faster if you compare it with the old one. So you can see it's the 2760QM. I think this can. No, it can't. Show that later. What says it there? Sorry for the blurry picture, because this is now off a phone. So for people who want quality, well, I don't. My camera is currently in a friend's house, so. For the rating of this one, it's a lot better than the JF. It's got an 8 gig, 8 gig DDR3 1600 RAM, because the 2760QM is actually able to fully utilize the 1600 megahertz RAM. So the ratings are, for the CPU, 7.6. For the RAM, it's 7.8 on the 1600 RAM. The GPU, for some reason, the Optimus didn't turn on, so it was rating the GPU, so it's 6.8, and the gaming graphics 6.7 on 1 gig of DDR3. There's actually another version for this SV, which comes with a 2 gig DDR3, but I feel it's really useless unless you have a bigger screen. And the hard drive is 6.4. So as I before I did with the old video, I'll show you the temperatures of this. So currently the CPU temps is averaging in the package of 51 degrees, and the GPU, if I can turn it on like last time before, and then I'll run down the specs of all the stuff I've upgraded on this. Nobody hasn't opened up yet. So as usual, the GT 540 I also overclocked it by about 110 megahertz. Temperatures maxes out at 89 degrees. The temperature does seem high, but because I think the GT 540, how it's packaged, the temperature runs up a little higher, but not using. It actually uses less power than the GT 425, and I confirmed it with another person's U41SV. For the temperature right now is idling at 42 degrees, so it's not much different than the old one I had. So running down what I have, so other than the Core i7 and the RAM, I've also upgraded the Intel the Wi-Fi card. It was an Atheros, and I changed it to an Intel Advanced Centrino 6230. Only reason why I want to do that is because of wide-eye, because I found wide-eye is actually pretty useful. So when I'm watching a movie, I don't have to plug it in with the wire. Gaming wise, it's pretty much the same thing. Gaming wise, performance, it's about 4 or 5 frames increase actually. CPU, the reason why I upgraded is because I do a lot of video rendering. So with video rendering, I need performance. So that's where the thought of changing the processor came. Changing the processor isn't actually that hard. It's the cooling that you have to be careful of. For this laptop, it's now running. It has a GPU and CPU separate cooling paths. For this one, I had to double the copper piping so that it would actually cool a lot better from adding the 2 cores. Other than that, everything is pretty much the same from the old JF. Touchpad is the same as the old one. Battery runtime wise, surprisingly, with the backlit keyboard and the 750 gig hard drive, it doesn't use much power. If I put it on power saving and just do word typing, I get about 8 hours of battery life. So it's not that bad. I can show you a game, which is Saints Row the Third. I can show you how smooth it runs. Future upgrades I might be thinking is an internal Blu-ray drive. Not sure for now, but because I sold my G53 JW, I have a little bit of change to go towards this laptop. I'm thinking that this laptop is actually perfect for me because it runs all the stuff I need. It's got a more powerful CPU than the JW, and the GPU is almost there. So I'll just show you walking around everything. I'll show you the game settings as well. It's running on native resolution. It's taking a little while. One thing I have noticed is this SW doesn't like to have any type of RAM in there. For some reason, it doesn't like to run Corsair like my old JF where I had Corsair RAM in it, but for some reason this one, when I had the Corsair 8 gig 1333 RAM, it would just pretty much lock up and artifact like crazy. So you can see everything's smooth, nothing is out of the ordinary. See, nice and smooth. Even just turning it's perfect pretty much. And even if I just get myself out of this safe house, even driving fast, it renders no problem. So the fan, as usual, starts kicking up, which is usual. So you can see it's very nice and smooth. Even the smoke texture is nice and textured, and there's no glitch. So the settings I'm running, if I can access my video. So I'm running native resolution, full screen on 2x anti-aliasing, anisotropic 2x, scene details on high, lighting and shadows on low, reflections on high, post-processing is on high, and ambient occlusion is on high, and VSyncs on as well. So pretty much on a GT540, which is a mid-range GPU, running this is actually not that bad. So exiting now. No. I sadly don't have the Need for Speed game so I can compare with the old one, but everything just works a lot faster and smoother. And this pops up, doesn't matter. But overall, it's a pretty good laptop. If you can try and get your hands on one, it's pretty good. Improvement wise, if you have a JF right now currently, I wouldn't recommend getting an SV because other than the processor and the GPU change, there's not much difference. The GPU is still on the Fermi architecture. Other than Core i7, unless you're doing some video rendering, then because to be honest, this laptop costed $800 plus on top of the $250 for the Core i7, so about $1,100. For that price, you can get another laptop, but I like Asus, and this 14-inch laptop just works. It just does everything I need. So I'll show you, the standard ports I think I've shown on the older laptop. Just give a sec for this thing to boot down. And as usual, this button you can also change for the power for gear for the power settings, and as well as Asus's own little OS. Take that off. So the only difference to the JW is that USB 3 port, and that's where it is on the left side. Everything else is all in the same exact place, nothing's changed. Got the same 8-cell battery, Pretty much, to be honest, 80% is all the same. So if you have any questions, if you have an SV and it's having the artifact locking up problem, it's the RAM. So thank you.